Okay, welcome back. It is time to take a look at the third vehicle within the STRV platoon. Now, I have to say, my favorite vehicle of this platoon has to be the STRV. This tank, I don't know what's so special about it. I mean, there's a lot of things that are special about it. It has a very lethal 105mm autoloading main cannon, which does fire a PFSDS, and it also has hash, although its main ammo is definitely the APFSDS ammo, which has fantastic penetration, amazing reloads, very nice sloped frontal plate, although it has some drawbacks. It has basically no armor, and it is a hard to drive vehicle. Definitely has a learning curve to it, but overall, definitely my favorite vehicle. I had a lot of fun with it, and we'll have some more videos on the STRV coming up very soon. But today I'll be taking a look at the third vehicle, and this is the PV-RBV. This is a well, this is technically a SPAA, although it has the ATGM attached to it, and I gave this vehicle the nickname the Swedish candy van because, well, this is the first thing that this thing reminded me of, and yeah, you can just imagine on the whole candy inside, 100% legit. Anyway, it has a 127mm ATGM attached on top of the vehicle. It is fairly slow, 38 km/h with a very horrendous reverse speed of 7 km/h. Specific power is 14 horsepower per ton. It has only 10 tons. For crew member, 630mm is the penetration, reload 12 seconds, 0 to 0 speed with 5 degrees per second, and well, obviously it has absolutely no armor. I mean, this is one of the thinnest vehicles that I've ever driven in this game, and this vehicle can be destroyed by anything that gets close to it. Even a low caliber HE shell will put an end to this tank. But it has a very nice ATGM. I mean, its ATGM performs better than the ATGM on the IT1, which has 500mm penetration, but this vehicle is overall, I would say, much more pleasant to drive, and does perform much better in combat. This thing doesn't get killed by splash damage, basically, while this thing gets killed by anything, and it is kind of a frustrating vehicle to drive. So yeah, but let's see let's see how this tank will perform in combat. Alright, let's go to the first match. Now, this vehicle is not really the same as the IT1 when it comes to performance. I would say the IT1 definitely feels, well, much easier to drive, and its survivability is definitely much better than this thing. This thing has no armor, and it's ridiculously slow. And of course, there's also one important aspect of this vehicle that I forgot to mention. You cannot shoot while moving. You can fire and then move, but you can't launch the ATGM while on the move. And that means you have to position this vehicle in such a way that you are, in most cases, well covered from the incoming fire from the enemy tanks. But as you can see, obviously, the gunner who is operating the ATGM is basically exposed, and yeah, that's obviously not a good thing, and the gunner will be killed very often on this vehicle. Now, I don't want to call this a tank, since technically it isn't, but you know, this is a candy van truck, I guess. Like I mentioned on the start, the only thing missing is the... Wait, did you see that? That thing just hopped over the rubble here like nothing. No, the maneuverability is unfortunately not that impressive of this vehicle, as already mentioned. It is very slow and basically non-existent reverse speed, so your only, well, the only way how to keep this thing safe is by using natural cover that you will find on the maps. But definitely do not attempt to tank any hits, since anything can just penetrate the armor on this thing. Now the good thing is the ATGM that this thing is launching is actually really good, very stable, and I mean it's literally laser accuracy on this ATGM. Doesn't have that weird wobble that the IT1 has, and it has a lot more penetration, although penetration with the IT1 hasn't been a problem, so the penetration on this is also really good, but the stability of the ATGM is very impressive. And I just killed 5 tanks somehow. And of course the very bad thing about this vehicle, as you just saw, is the fact that any splash damage, doesn't matter where it lands, if it's anywhere close to you, it will kill the tank basically. So yeah, this might very well be like literally the thinnest vehicle that I've ever driven. So if someone is launching artillery on your location, the best thing to do is basically just run for the hills, because you will not be able to survive not even a single hit from any high explosive projectile or any high explosive shell, or even artillery. So yeah, that's I would say that's probably the worst aspect of the vehicle, the fact that it has no armor and that it's very slow. And of course it can't rotate the ATGM full 360 degrees, you are limited to 180 degrees. Also one important thing to note, and one thing that is different from the IT1. Overall, I would say the IT1 is definitely much more comfortable to fly, and it does carry a bit more rockets. This thing carries 8 rockets at max. The IT1 carries 15 rockets, so you can shoot a lot more with the IT1. But overall, generally speaking, I would say this vehicle can be definitely very fun, and it is difficult to drive it. It has its drawbacks, but it's nonetheless a very interesting vehicle to try out. Although I personally still prefer the IT1, because with the IT1 I can easily just cover the whole tank, and it can survive artillery as well. Even if it's, you know, close, it's not going to do any damage unless it directly hits. With this vehicle, any type of splash damage just kills it, so that is something to keep in mind when driving the candy van. If they ever add custom text or custom letters, I'm writing the candy van on the side of this thing, because that's literally the thing that's literally what that this tank reminds me of, and it's kind of hilarious. There's a tank behind that building, although I don't see them. So yeah, very easy to disable this vehicle, and it does run stealth. Can't really run around with this tank because, you know, it's slow. Kind of funny how the IT1 weighs much more, but the IT1 basically is much faster, and the IT1 also has a very low profile. I mean, this thing is huge and boxy, you can't really miss it, but the IT1 is very slim and very low profile, so you can't really get a good shot at the tank unless they really go out of cover. And technically speaking, you can just have the ATGM peeking from above, but any high explosive that hits the gunner and the ATGM itself will basically overpressure the vehicle and destroy the vehicle, so you can't really use it the same way that you are using the IT1. It's not going to work. And yes, I tried it out and it didn't work well. So yeah, I can't really use this vehicle the same way that you can use the IT1 or some of the other ATGM spammers. Although this is definitely, I would say, the most powerful ATGM. Has a lot of penetration and it is very stable, which is a very big bonus, because stability with the ATGM is important. The ATGM on the IT1 is very wobbly when you launch it, and it's not really that easy to control. This is the complete opposite. You launch and it's laser accurate, just goes where you want it to go. And it's also decently speedy. It travels fast. And usually does kill in the first hit, although for this tank it took me 2 hits, depending on the RNG. Sometimes it kills, sometimes it doesn't, just how it goes. As you can see, the rotating this tank is also horrendous. It's because it has literally no maneuverability, and we have won the match. Well, 13 kills, not bad, that was good. That was not that bad actually. Pretty happy with the result. So that was the first match with this thing. Definitely not nearly as fun as the IT1, that's for sure. I don't know, the IT1 is just much more fun than this. Much more easy to drive, much more easy to hide the tank, and does basically deliver about the same performance. Well, I mean, it penetrates 500 millimeters, which is still pretty good. Penetration with ATGMs isn't a problem. Sometimes even this ATGM just trolls and does nothing on some vehicles. And well, we got the same map this time, although a different objective, so let me go, I'll go to the same position. That's where I usually go with this thing, because there is basically no other. I mean, there is basically no other position where you should go with this tank. You want to. Wait, what just happened? I shot something else and killed something else. Okay, that was weird. There aren't many positions where you can go with this tank. This is one of the best positions because it offers you fantastic protection. And yeah. Although I have no idea what happened there. I killed that tank. I didn't even see what I killed. That was kind of funny. Anyway, second kill. And in this position you're quite vulnerable to incoming artillery fire, and of course anything that hits the gunner will kill the gunner basically. So yeah, I wonder whose genius idea was to put the gunner exposed like this without a turret. This is just like a recipe for disaster basically. A mouse crawling out. Let's shoot the ammo. There we go. That was a direct hit in the ammo of the mouse. Just a little bit below the turret cheek. That's where you should shoot it. And that's where the ammo is usually stored. Although yeah, this is one of the more weird vehicles that I had the chance to drive so far. And that was a SPAA trying to creep around a corner. Also got blown up very easily. We have leopards. Okay. Now I find it very funny when you hit a tank like this, and basically you hit the front, but you hit the engine somehow without crippling the tank. Yeah, that tank would have been destroyed if this was a bit more realistic, because you know it's a missile, and anywhere where you hit the tank with a missile, it will just blow the whole thing up. You know, here I'm trying to escape the artillery, but my tank refuses to work for some reason, so I decided to just wait and basically die because, you know, the tank just did not want to move. The tank did not want to move, and that's what happens. When you have no luck, yeah, that's how it goes. Now, let's go and... well, let's actually go to the same position, because why not? Seems to be seems to be a good position, so let's just return to it. Although, again, as you just saw, that's basically the best position for this tank, since, I mean, there's probably another position, but on this game mode this might very well be the best position, since if I go to some other locations it's not going to be very productive. And that was a very unlucky moment there. Somehow that tank just popped out of nowhere. And as they say, sometimes no armor is best armor, since the enemy tank basically overpenetrated the armor, and, well, as you have just seen, they barely did any damage to it. Well, barely. They did hit the engine, and now I have to go somewhere to repair, although I think the match will end before I can repair the tank. So yeah. And victory. Well, that wasn't that bad. Although, based on how small the maps are at the moment, yeah, definitely not that easy to drive something with non-existent armor. And let's go to the next round. I mean, this tank is definitely kind of fun, I would say, but yeah, definitely not enjoying this vehicle as I did enjoy the IT1, that's for sure. Mostly because of the already mentioned reasons. No armor, slow. The IT1 is simply performing much better while offering better protection. Less penetration, but I'll take less penetration over paper thin armor any day. Doesn't mean that this is bad. I would say this is a pretty solid vehicle. It has just no armor, and that's the main problem with it. And over here, this position would probably be, I would say, well, not probably the best, but in this current situation, I would say it would be pretty solid. And there's the first tank. That's the first kill. The reloads on the IT1 is also much better, since the IT1 has a autoloader, while this vehicle doesn't have a autoloader. Although I love the stability of the ATGM. It goes where you want it to go and doesn't have the weird wobble, which is again very important. That's the small things that make this vehicle very interesting. Alright, well, let me fly a bomber a bit. Maybe I get some good kills, who knows? Maybe I get some good kills, who knows? Approaching the enemy teams. Where should I? Not really a lot of options, to be honest. I'll just drop bombs on the base, I guess. There we go. Well, I didn't kill anything, as expected. Just waiting for more targets to show up. You can't really run around with this vehicle because, again, has no armor, and you can't really run around with something with no armor. But you can snipe, and that was a good kill. That was a precise strike at that enemy tank. Alright, launching another air battle with this vehicle. And of course, it has to give me the slowest possible the slowest possible aircraft in existence. The Messerschmitt. I am really not a fan of this vehicle, of this plane. It did, I mean, I did kill the target, but yeah, it is still a very slow jet aircraft. This thing, it just, I don't know. It's a pain to fly this thing. I am not really a fan of it at all. I like the aircraft, but it is very slow for this tier. It should be matched up with World War II aircraft and tanks, to be honest, because that's when it was built, basically. Okay, T10A, very nice hit in the turret, in the ammo, more accurate. What do you think? Where is this aircraft going? Yeah, they're going for me, for sure. They are going after me for sure. Let's try to move out of the way. Yeah, there we go. They're definitely going for me. You can, yeah, there we go. There they go. Of course they're going after me, because they always do. They always go after me. Even when there's 20 players, they go right at my tank. Always happens. Without air. And I have to go back to the same location. Now there is a M103 somewhere. I saw the tank moving around this area. I don't know where exactly they are, but they should be pretty close. If they are close, then I will have a pretty good target to shoot at. No one is over there. Okay. Well, this little rock is the only thing keeping me from getting blown up, basically, so that's a good thing, I guess. Okay, we have a target, T-54, and that was a good hit. How many tanks? I have destroyed 5 tanks, that's nice. Could have been probably more, but you know, bad luck does its thing, I guess. Now maybe it will be time for me to move a little bit forward, or backwards in this case. And we have a... Wait, what? Why did my missile just... Okay, well, that was... Well, actually, maybe I couldn't rotate the turret, but it shouldn't be firing if the turret can't be rotated, so that's weird. And of course, every single plane, every single tank is going after me all the time. That's just, you know, not something that is uncommon. With the IT-1, definitely a much more pleasant experience than with this thing, that's for sure. The IT-1's low profile is just unmatched. Stealth with that vehicle is really good, and basically much more fun than this thing. And I'm being chased by something, but looks like they're quite slow. Maybe they're also in a Messerschmitt, I don't know. In any case, I'll just try to drop the bombs and then see if I can... Okay, well, I guess I can't. Thought I might be able to fight with that fighter, but maybe that's not going to happen, since this is after all a slow bomber. Well, slow bomber, it's fast, but it's not as agile as a fighter jet. And we have a target. Well, they moved somewhere else, I guess. They're still over there, but not entirely sure where their exact position is. A mouse. Okay. Well, I fired and attempted to go back to cover, but the reason why I went back to cover is because they started to look at me. The mouse rotated the turret, and the mouse can easily kill this tank. Now that's a very good... Okay, they're looking at me again. Let's pull back. Missile loaded. And let's see. Nope, they're looking at me. And they moved back in cover. Maybe I should have fired and just, you know, hope for the best. But again, can't really play that game with this thing because you have no armor. And this is a big and boxy tank, so you have to rely while the enemy is distracted. That way you ensure your survival chances are better than the average. And there is nothing there. Okay. And we have a tank behind us. Maybe they... T4114. That was a good hit. Destroy. That's kill number 6. Oh, okay. Pretty good. Alright, the mouse is actually moving forwards. I also run out of ammo. I mean, this thing has its problems, I guess. It is not a perfect tank, that's for sure. Yeah, I wish I had the missile now. This mouse would have been destroyed. Oh well. If it were the IT1, I would definitely have more kills. That's for sure. The limited amount of... I mean, it's kind of funny because you can only carry like 8 missiles, right? But this thing has should have much more storage than the IT1. The IT1 is such a small tank, and somehow it fits more missiles than this. Kind of weird. Should have much more storage, honestly. Alright, missiles are back. And now reloading. The reload is also a pain on this on this tank. It takes a year to load. And of course the mouse dies the second I have the missile ready, which is the classic. Happens all the time. Oh well. I think we will win the match, but it is uncertain at the moment. There is a lot of uncertainties right now surrounding this match, honestly. And this position seems to prove to be quite effective, so I am going to perhaps use this position for the IT. Although with the IT1, I prefer to be to be around a different rock, a rock that has basically a much smaller rock, but still enough to cover the whole tank. And that position with the IT1 is just pure evil. Definitely a position where I like to go with that tank, since it is much more difficult to hit, and you can easily drive the IT. That was a good hit, actually. I killed the mouse eventually. It was a different mouse, but I killed it without knowing exactly what I was shooting at. I just imagined the turret there and I aimed for the turret cheek. Eventually it did actually go there. And this rock here is also pretty good, although early on in the game you might not be able to get to it. No, there is a... Okay, there is a aircraft. Just watching where they're flying. If they make a turn for me, I have to go. I don't trust... With this tank, I don't trust aircraft at all, because... Yeah. And no armor does that to you. It makes you paranoid. Yeah, it looks like they're not after me this time. Okay, that's odd. That's very odd. In any case, let's see if we can get some more targets to shoot at. So far, I mean 7 kills, pretty good. Won't complain. This tank doesn't have any machine guns, by the way. It only has the ATGM and nothing else. So yeah, that's one funny thing about it. No secondary weapons, only the ATGM and nothing else. Yeah, I guess that's fine. I mean, it doesn't have to have anything else. The ATGM is the only thing you need on this thing. You only need like a rocker or something, a building, and a good cover, and yeah, that would basically be the only thing necessary for this tank. Since it, you know, and someone is shooting at me. I think it's a friendly. Yes, it is a friendly. It's a friendly mouse. Alright. They want me to be around them. I'll be around them. Just let me see. Yeah, there is no targets over here. Okay. Well, I'll just go and Yeah, let me go to the mouse. Just to give you an example of how big the mouse is or how small this thing is. I think that will be pretty fun. And also, you know, gives you a comparison on how big some of the vehicles actually are. So there's the mouse. A huge, super heavy tank. And you can see how tall or how big a human is compared to it. You can fit a lot of humans on that monster. That's a huge tank. After all, it is a super heavy, but it's always fun to see how big they are. Yeah, that's a big tank, that's for sure. That's a big tank. And this vehicle isn't that small as well. I mean, it's much larger than the IT1. But yeah, and the mouse is definitely much larger, and the mouse can't turn down the turret to hit you, which is kind of funny. Anyway, that was it for today. Definitely a fun vehicle, but yeah, fun vehicle, but definitely hard to drive. And I personally would say the IT1 is still the best ATGM missile carrier that we have in the game at the moment. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, stay safe. As always, I'll see you next time.